Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest?
Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
Hey, and welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And tonight, I've got a really special treat for you because this gal, man, alive, 38,000 monthly streams on Spotify. That's just Spotify. She's an amazing artist, and we're going to talk to her coming up in 30 seconds, so stick around.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Cibby's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at cibby'sapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
All right, everybody, put your hands together and welcome Sheyna Gee to the show tonight. Sheyna, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You're a busy lady.
Gotta keep on the move.
I was just telling Sheyna I was on TikTok today and I ran across a live where she was playing downtown Nashville at Dierks Bentley's, and then she's here and she had other stuff going on. So, I mean, you're just not one to sit down, are you?
I'm trying to make every moment count at this point in my life. So why slow down now? I want to retire early, you know?
Right. Exactly. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So, 38,000 streams on Spotify alone, plus. Now that's plus. It's not just 38,000. And I have no idea what you have on the other streaming platforms.
I mean, it's pretty even on iTunes and Spotify. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep it going. TikTok has been amazing. People actually go from TikTok casual person to listener on the other apps, which has been absolutely amazing. And I am guilty of, in the past, just kind of not releasing very much music. And this year I've been putting out music, and luckily Spotify playlists have really liked it, and it's made the iTunes and Amazon playlists, and like the cover of Deezer, one of the Deezer playlists. And so I've got to actually put out music for people to hear it, right?
Right. Yeah, I was the other night I was on Spotify, and I was just checking things out, and I was searching your name. I just wanted to see what would happen, and you popped up on one of my favorite lists, my favorite playlist, because I like the New from Nashville playlist a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like going down through there, and I'm going, wait a minute, I got to back up. And there you were. I was like, well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, Spotify has been very nice to me on my last EP. So shout out Spotify. Thank you.
And you were most definitely, I would say a very old school throwback type of artist.
Thank you.
With a lot of the stuff you do, I mean, you've got really that kind of an old school sound on a lot of your songs that I've listened to, and I love that. I think it's I love real country music. I'm not into the click tracks and the synthesizers and all that stuff. So I would rather have somebody that's kind of like the good artist from the 90s and back. And there are some today that are like that. I'm not saying that everybody's using snap tracks or, auto tune and, to the extreme and all that stuff. But you're one of those that's just doing your thing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to just stay authentic. I kind of put out, when I feel like I connect with a song or a group of songs, I just kind of put out how I feel at that time. And the songs that tend to resonate with me are the ones that are a little bit more authentic story kind of throwback songs. And I'm super inspired by the 90s period, whether it be country, rock, that whole era of music,
Mhm.
and then also like the 70s and stuff. So I feel like both good times for music.
Right. Well, and I mean, you live in Nashville now, but you came to Nashville via LA, right?
Yeah, I'm born and raised just outside of LA. I lived there until about 7 years ago now, and I moved to Nashville. Everyone leaves their hometown. My hometown just happens to be a big city.
So what is what's the story behind, you getting into music out in LA and, around LA and growing up and becoming a musician and a songwriter and singer and that kind of stuff?
My parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, and my mom wanted me to have a hobby, and didn't want me to be, like just a bum and be sad and whatever. So I was really bad at sports, and there was an old guitar hanging around the house, and I begged her to give me lessons, and she begged one of the teachers at the music shop to give me lessons. And I wrote my first song at 6, played my first show at 6, started my first band at 7, and just never stopped playing music until I'm still trying, man. I've been in and out of a couple deals as a child, and then as a early 20 something, and still just climbing that ladder.
Right. So as a 7-year-old band leader, what was that like? Where were you playing?
I
What
wasn't
kind of
necessarily the band leader. One of my mom's friends had a daughter and a niece that were 10 and 8, and they played drums and bass. So they kind of were like, our kids are, doing the same thing. And so we started this band called Spoiled. And we played down in San Diego, out just on the streets kind of, which is crazy because now you could never do that. And he was a nurse at one of the hospitals, and he would go to work at the hospital, and we would go play on the street and just like practice. And we wrote songs, and we have a little like CD somewhere called I Want Cake. And it was just hilarious. Like one of the songs was this song called What Comes Around Goes Around. And it was a song that I did for a school project, like at school. Like we had to do a creative arts project when we were like 7. And I asked if I could do a song, and they said, yeah. And the prompt was What Comes Around. And so I just wrote a song off of it. And that was our first song.
Have you ever thought about trying to find that song and maybe reworking it?
No, it was horrible. It sounded like a 7-year-old wrote it. But my mom still has that EP, and I hope that it never sees the light of day.
Hopefully she has it in a safe and she's forgotten the combination. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. She keeps everything. She has everything. It's a lot.
Oh, so who were some of the musical influences that you had when you were younger?
So when I was younger, I pretty much listened to rock and roll, Bad Religion, Sublime, Nirvana, Foo Fighters. No doubt, like I was in a Sublime tribute band in my early 20s. And I started hosting open mic nights in like when I was like 19 or so, and writing songs without a band, and I was just playing them. Before that, I had always been in bands. And so I wrote everything with a band pretty much. And I started writing by myself, and I was just like trying to put it to rock music. And I was like, this isn't rock music. Like this is country music. And so I started exploring that part of music. And I had heard like, cause I'm, a 90s kid. So I had heard like the Dixie Chicks and Shania Twain and Travis Tritt. had heard it casually. And I always liked it. I had an aunt that was super into it, and we listened to all the Shania Twain song. I could sing you everything on the Dixie Chicks album, but I didn't know like real country,
Yeah.
And I was like, I should listen to like Dolly Parton and Waylon Jennings and, deeper cut Johnny Cash songs than Folsom Prison Blues. And I kind of gave myself a formal country education as an adult. And I also went to college for 1 year and I dropped out of music school, but I had a teacher that also introduced me to like Janis Joplin. And I had always loved, like, Zeppelin's always been my favorite band. But I'd always loved rock, but I had never heard of Janis Joplin. And he'd heard me sing and was like, oh, you sound like Janis Joplin. And that's a little bit more organic too. And like the songwriting is like kind of storytelling ish as well. But I kind of found country music, and then I found a band called the Knitters. And this band, the Knitters, really did it for me. And I was like, okay, like I love country music. And then on the radio around the same time, Smoke a Little Smoke from Eric Church played. And I was like, this is on the radio and this is called country music. I was like, I guess I'm a country singer. Like I just it naturally just happened. And I fell in love with country as an adult. So my influences growing up are not your typical country influences, which is kind of where that last EP came from. I just had to like get that out of me.
Right.
But the next music coming out is more of what I was putting out before.
More of where you were shooting to. And then the last one was kind of what you had hoped, but it still came out great.
Thank you.
You know?
It's just different than the other stuff that I have. And I think that's okay. I think as an artist, it's okay to kind of just like put out what feels good at the time.
Right. It's okay to have multiple personalities as an artist.
Oh, when you put it that way, actually, that kind of makes sense for me.
I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want you to say, well, since you put it that way, I'm kind of offended. But
it's very hard to offend me. I grew up in bands, and bands are all raunchy dudes hanging out together. So I'm yet to be offended. So I'd be surprised if it happened.
Well, if anybody can do it, trust me, I probably will and not even realize I did it. I just tend to sometimes spout off at the mouth and not realize that I just said something totally stupid. So
I'm going to plug in this laptop really quick, because when I got home, I didn't realize that it wasn't.
Okay.
Hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Hey, you got help too.
There we go. Let's see. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
We're back. Real life.
Yeah. There's some people chiming in here.
Right. Real life shit show with Sheyna Gee.
Hey, there's your own podcast right there.
Oh, there was a phase in my life where my nickname was Shit Show Sheyna, and we will not go back there.
So that's off limits, right? I can't talk about that. Oh, darn it.
I know. I mean, there was it's the music industry, and I lived in Hollywood in my early 20s, and then Nashville. I've had my share of shit shows.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, somebody just admitted why the Spotify streams are so high up there. Craig says he's 37,000.
Keep streaming it.
Yeah. We were actually talking on the phone, and all of a sudden I'd been listening to Sheyna's music on Spotify, and for whatever reason, my phone in my truck, I don't know which one is more weird, but it started playing out of the blue, and I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do that while I'm on the phone. And so it was playing Sheyna's music, so she got to hear herself. So that was pretty cool.
I couldn't keep doing what I do if it wasn't for people streaming my music. So
exactly. So as a songwriter as well, what influenced you to get into that side of the music industry?
Writing.
Yes.
I've always written. I wrote a lot. Just as a kid, I was super guilty of being in math class and having written a whole song and not paid attention to anything that was going on with the teacher. And then I started my first co-writing ish at 15, 16. And then I was on a writing team in LA for a hip hop group. And I've just always kind of enjoyed writing, and I write everything, and I can't put out everything that I write, and everything that I write isn't for me. Some of the stuff is, more pop or rock or, hip hop even.
Mhm.
And so why not try to make it see the light of day in another way?
Right. Right. So do you pitch these songs to other people?
Yeah, and I have a few friends, bands that have cut some of the songs that I have, and of course I haven't gotten that big hit yet, but hopefully, as I keep going, a pub deal will happen and they'll pitch it to the right person, and it starts with local bands and just moving up, right?
Right. Absolutely. You get that. It just takes one.
Right?
you know, you get that one, and at least you got a little bit of an income.
Yeah, exactly. That mailbox money.
Right. Exactly. So, what do you feel like is with your music is the uniqueness that has drawn 32,000 streams a month? Now, I know that those streams are not, they're not all organic streams. A lot of them people restream songs, and I get that. I understand that side of it, but there's still a lot of people that are listening.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean by restream songs. Like, so the number that shows up on the top is the individual streams.
Oh, that's an individual stream.
Yeah.
That's not a cumulative of all the streams.
Yeah, it's how many streams like it did each time.
Okay. But I mean, it could be the same person listening to
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying. It's not like that's
No, that is listeners.
2,000
That's
different
listeners.
people.
Okay, now you confused me. So
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry.
number you see is listeners, not streams. So it is individual listeners.
Okay.
Streams is different.
Right.
So it's not like a song could get like 100,000 streams in a month and have 30,000 listeners. And the listeners number is the number that you see on top. Whew,
Okay.
okay, that confused me for a second.
But I'm glad you schooled me on that one because I was all wrong.
But I don't think there's anything special. I think that I have a raspy voice and I have lived an emotional life and I tell those stories. And I think a lot of us have been through a lot of the same shit. And just talking about life is relatable.
Right.
And I don't know. I think I'm just glad. I don't know why people like me, but I'm glad they do.
As long as they keep on liking you, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. So like I was saying today, I heard you at Dirks Bentley's, and I got to see a couple of songs because I was in the middle of work and working on some stuff and trying to get like 10 things done in 15 minutes type of deal. So I really only caught a couple of songs, but when you're doing those shows, of course, a lot of those people are asking for cover songs and stuff like that. What is your most favorite cover song to sing?
The one that someone pays me $100 for.
No matter what it is.
Literally, I've been doing it I played covers when I lived in California. I've played covers my whole life, and I have played every song under the sun. So they're all the same to me. I love playing covers, and I just love playing whatever makes people happy. So if the crowd is really into country that day, I love playing country. If the crowd is really into rock that day, I love rock. It's whatever everyone is enjoying at the time, honestly. I've gotten to play at this point every single one of my favorite songs. And I love doing I like anthemic songs. Great Day to Be Alive is my favorite song of all time. So I always like doing it because it's my favorite song. And then I love Drops of Jupiter and those kind of sing along, let's all be happy and whatever, because I just like everyone to be happy. But people always ask me that, what's your favorite song to sing? And it's I don't know. They're all my favorite. I just love that I get to have a job that makes people happy.
Right. So is there one particular song that you would say, damn, why did I not write that?
A million. The two I just named, every song. Oh my God. Actually, some of the songs that I wish I wrote are ones that up and coming writers, I see at writers rounds and I'm just oh, that's going to be a fucking smash. I can just see it now,
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a literal, I wish I wrote that. I say that Probably twice a week. I'm always chasing the next best hook.
I've got another artist that I had been listening to. She's going to be coming on the podcast pretty soon. So I was listening to her song and I love the title of it. I'm not going to give it away. I'll tell you after we get off the, off the video, but the title of it is just so cool. I mean, it's one of those where you go, I'd be damn, man, that just is catchy. It's just catchy. And I like those kind of songs that, the title's really catchy and it's kind of a play on words and kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I like that. If you could go on tour with someone, who would that be?
Tyler Childers or Turnpike Troubadours?
Love them both.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Turnpike is probably, I think, has every single song that they've ever put out is a banger. Like, I cannot think of a bad Turnpike song. And Tyler Childers, same thing. Like, the Purgatory album is the best album that's come out in 20 years. Like,
Right.
I think that those two bands are, like, every song is like, I wish I wrote that.
With that being said, what band do you feel like is the most underrated right now besides yourself? Well, you're not underrated. I mean, you got, 32,000 streams and
Gotta
more
get those
streams.
millions, man.
Yeah, true.
There's a girl coming up right now, Brittany Moore. I think she's amazing. I have so many friends, bands that are, I'm trying to think of someone that's like kind of on their way up that, but just, I see so many people every day at writers rounds and stuff that are just like phenomenal that are, coming up. Nashville's just full of talented bands.
Does that make what you do a little intimidating with all of the talent in Nashville?
I don't think it's intimidating. I think it's inspiring that there's so many people that are so good and that I get to swim in the same sea with them. I'm a small fish, but like everyone is so good and it's so inspiring. You hear a song and you're like, oh my God, that was beautiful. Like now I want to write a song like that. Like I want to be better because all these people are so good.
I'm waiting on somebody to write a song with either using that phrase about a small fish as a title or in the song, because I've heard that so many times. It's like, it's got to be on a bathroom wall somewhere.
Right.
You're a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
I have a lot of artists that say that, and I'm like, and I just want to ask him, did you find that on a bathroom wall?
Right. No.
I mean, they are the most philosophical places you can go to is a bathroom wall.
I'm not going to argue that.
There's a lot of philosophy on the bathroom wall. Trust me. So if I was to get a hold of your phone and open up your playlist, who are the top 5 artists I'm going to see that you've been listening to?
I still listen to Turnpike all the time. I listen to Tyler Childers all the time. I throw back to Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette like every other month. I just have to listen to it all the way through. I've been kind of checking out. I've honestly been trying to study who's been coming out because I'm in a cover band and everyone's been losing their minds over Lainey Wilson. So I finally listened to her stuff. And I know I'm like way late on that and she's incredible. I just was late. And trying to check out, I just listened to all Sierra Farrell stuff and I'm late to her too, more in the alternative genre. And just trying to keep up with like what's coming out because there's so much good new music that's out there. And I feel like I need to stay educated, especially being, that I'm in it not only as a cover band, but I'm also in it, and I need to know what's going on around me.
Right. With being now, when you say you're in a cover band, that is primarily while you're in Nashville. When you're
Yeah.
out touring, which quite honestly, you don't rest very much because I've seen some of the places that you've gone and want to go. I mean, like 17 cities within 17 days, pretty much. I mean, is what it seemed like. It was just bam, bam, bam.
March was crazy.
Yeah, gosh, I couldn't imagine. Are you doing more covers when you're out on your own like that and away from Nashville?
No, I just
Many?
use the cover gigs in Nashville to pay my bills.
Right.
And I need that money to keep making original music.
Right.
People don't realize that it costs, $20,000 to make an album, and then that doesn't even count the promotion of the album. That's just literally paying the musicians, paying the producers, paying for studio time, making demos, and making sure you really want to record those songs. And it's a lot of money. And in order to make money, I don't want to wait tables. I worked at Chili's in my early 20s, and I don't want to do that again. And I don't want to drive for Uber. So for me, it makes sense to 2 days a week go downtown and practice singing and listen to the best songs that are out and know what a hit is. And it contributes to my songwriting, and it contributes to actually becoming a better singer and musician.
Right. When and if you have any spare time, do you go downtown just to listen to other bands?
Oh God, no. Absolutely not. I have lived here for 7 years, and I lived in Midtown, which is super close to downtown. And I have done my time going downtown. The only time I go downtown is for work.
Yeah. Right. And it wouldn't well, of course, it doesn't matter where you go. If you go to Midtown, you go downtown, you even go out in the outer areas of Nashville, it's still tourist.
No, there's definitely some great venues. There was a girl on TikTok that got mad at me for pointing out. She tried to say there's no places to play original music in Nashville, and I named like 20 places. And it started this whole thing of like everyone being like, yeah, there's a million places, but there are amazing places to go see live bands, to see writers' rounds that aren't full of tourists. And there's, I love the original music scene in Nashville, but it's not downtown.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. More downtown is where all that stuff happens. So you don't want to be down on Lower Broadway and really even Midtown, where a lot of the artists at one point did hang out, and a lot of them still do. But the problem is there's still a ton of tourists down there that have discovered winners and and losers and all those places like on Demumbrium and all those. It's like just unbelievable. There's no hidden gems in the middle of Nashville anymore.
No.
They are all gone. And the ones that were really good seem to be getting closed up or bought up.
Yeah, they just turned a bunch of the bars downtown into new artist name bars.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always just changing hands.
Yeah, I know Garth Brooks has got the one next to Ernest Tubbs Record Shop. Luke Combs is taking over Wild Horse.
Yep.
And then I just read today where Hank Jr.'s putting a bar.
Yeah, where Crossroads was.
Yeah. So it's all right there in that area. And it's like, that's what Broadway's known for.
Oh yeah. Well, now it is. It never used to be that. When I moved to town, Dierks Bentley's, where I play now, was a dress shop.
Right.
It's crazy. And before
I remember
that, it was a pawn shop.
Yeah, I remember that. That was, and my first trip to Nashville, I think it was still occupied by something. It may have been the dress shop then, and that's been.
Yeah, when my first trip down there, it was a pawn shop. Like you could get a guitar down there.
Yeah.
So, like I started going to Nashville when I was 18, and it was a totally different city.
Oh yeah. It's just blown up overnight. They're building everywhere. The only thing they aren't building better are the highways.
No. Oh, Yes, whoever the civil engineer for Nashville was had no idea what they were doing. They just put circles and squares, and there's no just grid system. It's so weird.
No, no, it is, and it's like all just gridlock. I mean,
Yeah.
you get on there and it's gridlock. It's like a friend of mine from down there told me one time they had talked about putting a monorail system in.
Yep, they did a few years ago. But and it almost got passed, but then the mayor had an affair with her bodyguard, and then no one trusted her anymore, so it got voted down.
Right. Yeah. That was yeah, I remember that one. That's politics, you gotta love it. So when you're getting ready for a show, what consumes most of your time to get ready for a show?
It takes me about an hour to do my hair and makeup, and then I smoke a bowl and go play.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, that's my ritual. I'm not too complicated.
Right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Being on stage a lot, things are gonna happen regardless. I mean, look at Luke Bryan. I call him Nashville's clumsiest artist. Um, he's probably fallen off more stages than he stayed on, to be honest with you. But what is your most embarrassing stage moment?
I have had a lot of things happen just in the last couple months. I had at one of my shows in Texas, one of my eyelashes came off, and literally it was just like flapping through like half of the song, and I like couldn't see and was like twitching, and I just had to tell everyone like, this is really weird, but I have to take off this eyelash because I can't see anything. And then like a couple months ago, we were playing in San Diego, and one of my hair extensions fell off onto the floor while we were playing. And
Oh
the
my
guitar player
goodness.
came up and stepped on it. And I was like, oh my God, move, move, move. And the person in the front saw and just started laughing.
Oh my goodness.
So there's flubs all the time, but the show must go on.
Right. You should just looked at your guitar player and said, "Snake."
Yeah.
I don't know that he would have moved, but it still would have been funny.
So it was definitely I'd never had anything like that happen before.
So you've got one particular song on your Spotify that is, and again, I'm an Android guy, so I don't have iTunes and all that stuff, and I haven't put the others on, the Deezer and all that stuff. I hadn't put that on. So I listen to Spotify a lot. So
Yeah.
This song you've got 300,000 plus streams on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ghost?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to play that, and there's some people on, and hopefully they haven't heard it, and they'll get to like you and stuff even more, because a lot of people are chiming in tonight about how much they like you, and I think it's really cool. So let's play Ghost. We'll kind of let them hear it. Then we'll come back and I'm going to ask you about the backstory of the song, kind of where it came from and stuff. So
Sounds good.
all right. So we'll get to Ghost by Sheyna Gee coming up in 30 seconds.
b4Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Sibby's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at sibbysapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
Well, you got the touch of a ghost, and I've been dreaming. And the Lord only knows where you've been sleeping. But I'm getting blisters from carrying your soul, keeping up with the devils, but here's back to the days. I just wanna leave and get out of this place. There's nowhere to go and I'm high anyway. Well, it's solid, other than the sirens that are making me deaf. And you tell me you love me, but you can't hear a damn thing I say. And there ain't enough whiskey to make this alright, or to drown out the places that you go, the nights when you're gone. And I'm all alone when the time passes slow and there's nothing to say. That damn 65 has been picked up days. I just wanna leave and get out of this place. There's nowhere to go and I'm high anyway. There's nothing to say. Time passes slow, and there's nothing to say. Time passes slow, you're high every day. Time passes slow, and there's nothing to say. That damn 65 has been backed up a days. I just wanna leave and get back to LA, but I probably won't, 'cause I'm high anyway. And there's nothing to say. Time passes slow. There's nothing to say. I said time passes slow. You're high every day. You're high every day.
All right, that was Sheyna Gee, and the same song is Ghost. So, where did it come from? Tell me a little bit of the backstory.
So I was going into the studio in March of 2019, whatever year that was that came out. And and I was listening through songs, like making sure I picked the right songs for the album, or the 3 songs that I was going to record at Southern Ground the next day, or like a few days later. It was like 3 days later. And I heard this chorus that I had sang into my phone, and it was that the time passes slow and there's nothing to say, and that damn 65, that part. And I was like, it was the 101, because I was living in California when I had written that like 3 years before.
Mm-hmm.
And I just forgot about it. I just completely forgot about it. And I had been writing this verse and that was about my boyfriend at the time before. And I had been writing this verse about my boyfriend I had at this current time 3 or 4 years later. And I was like, these two would go together perfectly. And I just had that, you got the touch of the ghost and I've been drinking, and the Lord, and I just had that. And it kind of just fell, the rest of it fell out. I'm getting blisters from carrying your soul. Like, it was like 10 minutes and it was done. And my boyfriend at the time was also the engineer of the recording. And I went to him and I was like, I think I want to take out this one song that we were doing and I want to record this song. Like, and I played it for him and he was like, oh my God, yeah, you have to record that. Like, that's definitely the song. And he didn't know it was about him. He didn't know, he's like, did you just write that? I was like, yeah, it was about my ex, from California. And then I broke up with him a couple of months later. But but that song is actually about 2 relationships. I just happened to be in the same situation a few years later of just, that point in the relationship where it's over, but you're just kind of living together and like life happened. And I guess a lot of people on TikTok heard it and have been in the same situation. And because when I put out in 2019, no one heard it because I, at the time, was still, playing Broadway 5 days a week. 2 of those days were doubles. I wasn't thinking about promoting music. I wasn't thinking about whatever. I was just happy that was the first song I'd put out in 3 years. And I was just, like, oh, I put a song out. Now I'm going to be famous. Like, no, that's not how that works. And when I went in to record this new project, someone told me I needed to get on TikTok, and I'd started using TikTok, like everybody else does with the trends and the get ready with me's, and nothing was working. And someone was like, why don't you post one of your old songs? Like, you're going to be promoting your new songs. You need to practice. So I posted Ghost, and the first time I posted it, it got 50,000 views. And so I posted it again the next day, and it got 150,000 views. And then I kept posting it and but since I released it and then COVID happened, I didn't have a lot of footage. I had 2 or 3 videos of it that I had. And so I just kept recycling them, and it kept growing and growing and growing. And more people heard it, and more people were like, oh my God, this is me. Oh my God, like whatever. And it just grew. Like TikTok really did its thing.
Right. Now, that song has not been put out on an EP, right? Don't you have a new EP that's coming out? What's that?
It was just a single.
Okay. Because I know I read where you had a new EP coming out pretty soon.
I recorded an EP in Abbey Road. I did an all acoustic EP because everyone was asking me to put out Ghost acoustic, and some of my other songs I had posted, Barstool, Float, they wanted the acoustic versions. So I went to Nashville and recorded at Abbey Road, and I was like, since it's just me and my guitar player, let's just do an acoustic thing. That's what everyone wants anyways. And when are we going to be in London to record at Abbey Road again? I didn't know I was going to be invited back 2 months later to play C2C. But at the time, I thought this was a once in a lifetime thing that I'm going overseas. Like, I have to record at Abbey Road. And so I did this recording. I got sick the week before. I was throwing up. And for a whole week, I had the flu. I was sitting on the toilet and throwing up at the same time for multiple days. And I had to push the studio back a few days because I literally couldn't be in the studio. They lost our luggage. So even if I would have been able to, I didn't have any of my things. It was like the trip from hell. And then when I got there, the engineer was super weird and like super negative the whole time. And it was just quite an experience. So I haven't decided if that EP is going to fully come out yet, but, but I did record it, and I did put Ghost out because everyone kept asking for Ghost.
Right. So you've obviously been able to hear the recordings from that, right?
I sent them to another engineer to mix, and I haven't heard all of the recordings yet. I've only heard what he sent back to me because I kind of have like a release schedule. So he's just kind of sending them to me as I need them. So I haven't really heard them all yet.
I was just curious if you'd heard how they sound, if he got a little weird when he, was doing his thing or what.
The recording was fine. It was just not a great day musically.
Right.
Like I tried to stay positive through the whole experience, and really take advantage of it. It was the only, it was a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Just wasn't the fairy tale that I thought it was going to be,
Right. So that totally negates the question I was going to ask you about how the experience was, because now I know. So you're really working on like getting in front of people. And one of the things that you do that I crack up about this all the time, and I'm going to say it this way. Tourists in Nashville just are not bright people, are they?
They might be fine people at home. They're drunk when they're in Nashville.
Well, that's true. But even drunk, my memory does work a little bit. But I work in radio, and I've been in radio for, almost 40 years. And so it's like, I know a lot of the songs, but you do this thing on TikTok where you're at like Dierks Bentley's, or you're at Old Red, or Casa Rosa, which is Miranda's bar. And you ask people to name so many of their songs, like 3 songs. I think I saw one today where you asked them to name 5.
Yeah.
And they can't do it.
Yeah.
They cannot do it. I'm like,
honestly,
you're Johnny Cash's. That's where it was.
Yeah.
And you asked him.
Johnny Cash's, I had to go a little harder because he has way more hits.
Right.
But I honestly thought people were going to do a little bit better. But it doesn't really surprise me because I still get people asking for Sweet Home Alabama by Alabama. So, that doesn't, or Don't Stop Believin' by Van Halen, like, is a regular one. Like, so it doesn't really surprise me. I get it because I know how to speak tourist. I've been doing it long enough.
You're going to have to teach me that. I have never learned that language yet.
Oh.
But when I watch those, my wife and I, when football is on, the NFL, like they've got the draft tonight, and I was just like, I'm over this. They're taking 10 minutes to pick a player. Come on, guys. It's not, you can do it like high school.
Not rocket science.
Middle school. You don't have to take 20 minutes to figure out who you want. But when there's games on, we're like, I'm one of these, I'm yelling at the screen. Same way with baseball. I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinal fan. And so when the Cardinals are messing up, which I'm surprised I have a voice considering how much they've screwed up in the last 3 weeks, I'm constantly yelling at the TV. And I find myself doing that with your videos. And I'm going, oh my gosh, Little Red Wagon, the house that built me. Mama's broken heart, for crying out loud. Don't you know anything?
Yeah, I got the inspiration from TikTok. One of the guys that I follow goes and asks common knowledge questions on the streets of New York.
Yes.
Those, I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. Like, what's 1 times 9? And like people will be like 10 or like 18. Like, wait, no.
He was the first president of the United States.
Exactly.
Bush. Wow. No, it has nothing to do with beer, but good try. But I mean, I love that little niche that you've got doing that. If you've never seen that, you have got to check her out when she does that, because it'll make you laugh. It really will. Because you're just, if you're like me, like I said, I'm sitting there screaming at my phone. And sometimes I'll be in the studio at work and people will hear me and they'll go, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Oh, yeah.
I always have to make sure I have the mic off though.
It's hard when you're standing right next to them and they're asking you, "Come on, help me." I'm like, "I can't help you."
Yeah. I really want to, I really want to scream it in your ear, but I can't. It takes away from it. Oh my gosh. But it's great. So if you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice about the music industry, what would that be, like, to your younger self?
This is going to sound so cliche, but it is absolutely the truth. And I'm only finding it out this year. And it, once again, is because of TikTok, which is crazy. But to be authentic, I spent so many years chasing something else and wanting to be the next somebody instead of just wanting to be myself. And then when I put my video on TikTok and people liked the song that I wrote that was about my life, that I wrote by myself and was 3 days before I went in the studio, that's what they liked. And in the video that went viral, my makeup was messed up. My hair was messed up. I was at the heaviest I'd been in 5 years. And that's the video that they liked. And they didn't care about me being perfect. They didn't care about me being auto-tuned. They didn't care about any of that stuff. They wanted to hear the real emotion. And that it's so horrible that it took me other people telling me to be myself for me to be myself. I was trying to chase, I had already recorded this new EP that I had done. And I kind of did it as everybody had told me to do rock because I have a rock voice and I agree with that because I play covers all the time and I know I can, but that wasn't what I was naturally writing. And I spent a whole year writing that project. And if I would have just gone into the studio and recorded what came naturally to me, then it would have been different. So just to be authentic and not chase something that other people are telling you to do.
Right. And that is so true. I mean, that's something everybody needs to listen. It doesn't matter whether you're going in the music industry or anything else, and that's one of the things I like. I just, just be authentic, tell
Absolutely.
me, tell me what you want to tell me. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear, because 9 times out of 10, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, and I love the songs that I put out, and they are authentic to me. I wrote them. They're about my life. It's just, I might have stepped back the production a bit. I might have done some things a little bit different if I wasn't trying to do what made everybody else happy, which was trying to be a rock singer. And
Right.
I'm a country singer, and it's what comes naturally to me. It was what my instinct said when I was 19 and was like, this is what I need to do. And I just needed other people to validate my own opinion.
Right. Now this is one of those things that I warn people, I'm going to chase rabbits at times. These are not questions you may have seen or anything like that.
Okay.
If you've got, you're about to go on national television, an award show, something like that. You know how they're always doing these collaborations on award shows. And you can collaborate with 3 females. What 3 females would you want to be on that stage with?
Shania Twain, Dolly Parton, and Linda Perry. Alanis Morissette. And Alanis Morissette. Dolly Parton, Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette.
What song do you think that you guys would do?
Oh, God.
Let's say this. You get to pick the song because you're the production person over that segment, and you're going to say, okay, this is a song that I want us to do.
I think that I would do Great Day to Be Alive, because that would be the best moment of my life. That's why I love ending my set with that song, because it's like, I get to do this. Like, I get to do this. I'm lucky enough to do this. I don't have to do this when I'm playing covers, And
Right.
if I was sharing the stage with those 3 women, I would be in tears, and it would be the best day of my life, and it would just be so meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
So that song would have to be it.
That would be an interesting one to hear with. I think it would be more interesting to hear with Alanis Morissette on it.
Yeah. I can already hear Dolly's voice on the beginning. I got my rice cooking.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that'd be something else. Of course, she sang. What was it? She and Miley Cyrus did some song together that was actually quite interesting. I want to hear her new album that she's supposed to be coming out with from the
Yeah.
Rock and Roll
She
Hall
is
of
coming
Fame.
out with it. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to hear it.
I know I can't either. I really want, because she's got some great people going to be on that thing with her.
Know.
It's going to be so good, and I'm a huge Dolly fan.
Yeah. Same.
Sorry, go ahead. I
No,
started.
I just said same.
Oh, as an independent artist, what are the biggest challenges that you've ran into?
Money.
That makes perfect sense.
Money, and that people would rather buy you alcohol than just give you the money.
Right. Don't buy me a shot. Just give me $5.
Exactly. It's cheaper than a shot. A shot is $12 downtown.
Right. True. We are talking Nashville.
Yeah, it's but just the fact that recording things properly and everything just costs a lot of money, and that's been the biggest hurdle for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where I mean, not I know there are some people in Nashville that have family money backing. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah.
But there are other people that don't have anything and they're having to struggle and they're having to work 2 or 3 jobs. I mean, I've got a friend down there that's an artist that he's got his real estate license, but yet he delivers for Subway,
Yeah.
you know, which I would think the real estate license would be something you could kind of set your hours to a little bit more. But
Right.
if no, but he goes up into the like the upper Midwest a little bit more, and stuff like that. So maybe it has something to do with that. That he couldn't do it on his own. He'd have to get with a realtor, a real estate company or something like that. I don't know. But what one song do you want to be most remembered for that you have out so far? Not saying you won't write that later on, but
Um, I have a song called Fix Things that I'm gonna be putting out soon,
mhm,
and it is the most honest representation of myself and the relationship that I'm in right now and the things that I've been through. And I think it's the best song that I've ever written. So I want that to be the song. I have a bunch of videos of it on TikTok, but that's the one that I at this point in my career would love to be remembered for. And it's kind of why I'm like skittish to put it out because I want to be at a level where enough people are going to hear it. I don't want it to just go to the abyss of the internet.
right, right. I didn't know if it was because you felt like you were like uber vulnerable during that time that you weren't sure if you wanted to put it out for that or if there's another reason. So thank you for kind of clarifying that question for me.
Yeah, no, I just want I recorded it at Abbey Road and that's not the right recording, so I need to re-record it. And I want to record it with the right producer and really do that song right and do it justice. And I want to make sure that every chess piece is in the right place when I do put it out.
Right. Do you have a time of day that you feel like you are most creative with your music?
Oh, absolutely. I only book rights between 10 a.m. and 3. I can't. There's definitely times where I've woken up in the middle of the night and written a whole song. That's absolutely a thing. But I am not a night person. After 3 o'clock, I am useless and my brain doesn't work. So I am one of those people that I have to, and I also have to wake up. So it's like between 10 and 3 is the sweet spot.
Right. That sounds like me. That's when I'm best at work
Yeah.
because that's when I'm on the air between 10 and 3. Um, I'm going to change this one up a bit because 99.9% of the time I get the answer that I'm expecting, but hoping I don't get, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Outside of the Ryman Auditorium or the Grand Ole Opry, what venue or festival would be your dream gig to play?
Red Rocks.
Okay. That is such an awesome venue. I mean, it's
A
just,
bucket list.
yeah, that's an amazing place. Um, any pre-show rituals or routines that you have?
Smoke a bowl.
Got to get in the mindset.
Yep. If anyone's ever seen me live, you've never seen me sober. I have always smoked a bowl before every single show.
Well, that makes for a more fun show, but I mean, it's a lot different than being drunk on stage. So
Yeah.
I will say that. Um, for folks to find out more about you, aside from TikTok, where's the best place for them to go?
TikTok and Instagram are where I'm the most active. I post a little bit on Facebook, but not really. And then follow me on Spotify and iTunes.
And there was one more. I should ask this before I ask that, so I apologize. I'm gonna digress here for a second, because you've got one song that I really wanted to ask about. I read a little bit of the backstory, but I want to get more about it, and that is the song Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had an ex that slept with girls the entire time that we were together, and we only dated for 10 months. And he's got hit anymore was also about him. But he I was gaslighting me and like, oh, we're still friends, like, you know, whatever. And so we would still go to lunch and like shit. And then when I met my boyfriend now, he's like, that's not normal. You don't just be friends with somebody that you dated. Like, he's clearly like gaslighting you because you still want to be with him. And I like, you know, this was before we were like serious.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like, you're right. Like, that is 100% what is happening right now, because I am still like want to be with this man. And so I blocked him on everything, told him I wasn't talking to him anymore, and didn't talk to him. And he had a few fake accounts, and I knew when they would watch my stories and stuff, and I'd go block that account and like whatever. And this last year, not this past year, but the year before, he made another fake account, and he actually reached out to me and messaged me on Instagram and said that Merry Christmas, and he knows because Christmas is my favorite holiday, he wanted to reach out and make sure I was having a good Christmas and hoped we could be friends one day. And that song, literally, I was just like, we were never friends. Like, I was in love with you, you weren't in love with me back, and that's not what friends are. And like, I didn't say anything back to him. I deleted the message and never, you know, engaged. Right. But it's just about that, like, how an ex always just wants to be like, let's be friends. Like, we're not friends. We were in a romantic relationship and you fucked me over. And then I didn't want to use his name in a song because I just didn't think he deserved that. That would be he's also in the music industry, and he would hang that over my head all the time. And he would love if I put his name in a song. So Angela, I told you once, kind of like, it sang nice and just sounded good. So, and Angela could be whoever you want. It could be a friend that's an asshole. It can be, you know, like for a guy and ex-girlfriend, people can think I'm a lesbian. I don't care. But I just thought that sounded nice together. So Angela it was.
Right. I kind of read that story as far as it wasn't directed to somebody, you know, it could be like a best friend, you know?
Yeah. It could be a friend that I have a friend that fucked me over when I was younger too. So it could be about her.
Right. Kind of falling into that, excuse me, that Taylor Swift mode, you know?
Oh yeah. All my songs are based on true stories.
So there you go. You get them while you can get them, and you hit them hard. That way they never know what's coming. So you can find out more. You can go to Sheyna's website. Golly, SheynaGee.com. Your website.
Yeah.
My goodness. That cough has really got me messed up. Go check her out. Go stream her music. Get those monthly listeners bumped up and get the streams bumped up. And let's just show her a lot of love. More new stuff coming out hopefully soon. And we'll get to hear all that. Super excited to. Good grief. It is just coffee, I promise. Holy cow. Oh. You would think it was whiskey that was like burning my throat. Maybe that's what I need. But go check her out. Go stream her music. And I apologize for that. I really hate that I'm sitting here choking to death on, you know, on our time to talk. But thanks for coming. One thing we didn't mention coming up in September.
Freedom Jam.
You're going to be in St. Louis.
I will.
And so if you're in the St. Louis area or you're within 1,000 miles of St. Louis, they have an airport you can fly in. You can come in and check out Sheyna. She's going to be at Freedom Jam in St. Peters, Missouri, at Diamond Music Hall. We'll be talking about that some more. Tickets will be available before too long. We're right now getting the lineup ready, so that's one of the biggest things, is getting all the artists, making sure the dates are going to match and everybody can be there and that kind of thing. And so far we're doing really well. So, but I'm excited to see her then, unless I can make it down to Nashville sometime between now and then, which I'm hoping to do as well. We've got to make our one of our biannual trips. We usually go down there at least twice a year. And so I'll have to message you and find out where you're playing at.
Yeah.
Before then, or if you get close enough, hey, we may just go anywhere and check you out. So keep an eye on her website. It gives you all of the information of where she's going to be at and playing. Let me see here. I was trying to get over there to that because I had that pulled up. You're going to be in Memphis, Tennessee, coming up Saturday night. Yep. Right. South Main Sounds. I have not heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a great listening room. It's got a 70 cap, so you're going to get an intimate show, and it's very storyteller vibes, and you get all the behind the scenes, and then I'm going to hang out and have some drinks with everyone afterwards.
That's awesome. That sounds like fun. I'm not that far from Memphis, so I don't know that I'll make it down there this weekend, but I'd sure like to. I think it'd be fun.
It's a great venue.
So if you guys get a chance, you're down in the Memphis area, you want to check Sheyna out, you can go down there on Saturday. That show, it starts at 6.
Yeah, I play it. I'll be starting at 7.
Okay. Yeah, it's got, so 6 is like a door opens, opener type thing. So, all right, there you go. So 6 o'clock, go check her out. Sheyna, thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging out. And I can't wait to see you in St. Louis if I don't get to catch you before then.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to actually finally meet you kind of virtually.
Yeah, we've talked, but we haven't really got to meet face to face yet. So this is the new face-to-face meetup, is
That's
Zoom
right.
or some kind of video. So, but everybody just remember, we'll be back on Monday night. We've got another artist coming on for you. Keep an eye out on the Facebook page and Instagram to find out who that's going to be. And we will see you guys on Monday. You have a good Thursday night and a great weekend.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow b4Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcast. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on b4Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.